Alright, so here we go in Photoshop to try to do the compensation. So we're gonna aim for, to create something like this. Now you can add contrast if you like. So here's the result that we get, and have the background. Okay, so I just placed the background below it. I have the transparency here since we've used that on the shader. Affect the shadows and use for all channels, so that we have the alpha transparency on the glass as well. Now let's move on. Let's go to the filter, and we're going to use the camera roll filter in order to compensate the shot, because let's face it, it's really terrible. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to use the white balance. I'm going to click on this gray, and the shot is balanced. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to really be careful here. And by the way, those blacks are normal because of, I don't know, Photoshop displays it like this at 50%. So anyways, I'm gonna go back to fit in the view. What we want is to compensate the shot inside, outside. All right, so we don't have overexposed areas all over. So I'm gonna start with the highlights. I'm gonna turn them on a little bit down, sorry, and also the exposure. All right, pretty good. Now I'm going to work with the shadows now. Okay, so an image has shadow, has midtones, and has highlights. So now we turn the highlight a little bit down, but we want to turn the shadows a little bit up so that we get a little bit of illumination. All right, there you go. We started getting some result here. Now we're going to contrast this a little bit because it looks really flat. And it's a matter of spending time just refining here and there, right? So as you can see now, with just a few clicks, we've compensated the shot. It turns out to be pretty well. All right. So shadows maybe a little bit more, less highlights. All right, that looks pretty good for me. I'm gonna hit OK, and there you go. Now with the background. Well, the background doesn't match actually, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place hue and saturation. I'm going to desaturate it a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to illuminate it a little bit. Oh, 1 second, not using that, but using an exposure. It's better. Alright, pretty good. So it depends on the taste actually at this point, what you like the image to look like. But anyways, you got the idea. Alright, so at this point we have compensated the shot. So at this point you can start working on your color correction if you want to work on your color correction. And you can use plugins for that. I use Magic Bullet sometimes, not quite often, because I don't like to do a lot of color correction to my images. I like them to look photoreal and something that looks photographic, or something that will, I like to do shots that looks like what my eye would see in the real world. That's what I want to. That's really the style that I like. But yeah, if you want to add color correction, feel free to do it. I just want to show you a quick feature here, and it's called Color Lookup, and it comes with lookup table. It's a LUT tables, 3D LUTs. And 3D LUTs basically is they try to mimic films, and you can save, for example, if you're doing color correction in a grading tool, you can save the preset with color correction and you can reapply it here in Photoshop. But most of the time they use LUTs to convert into film look, right? So I'm gonna try to play a little bit with these. All right, I think this is fine. So another trick I can show you is you can work with color or luminosity. See, an image has luminosity, luminance, and color. So you can target, instead of adding this effect to the color, you can add it only to the luminance, and we can do that, you see, or we can do it on color. So as you wish, maybe that's too much for me. Anyways, for my taste, that's too much. I like to. All right, so we've compensated the shot, and you can go from here and you can start adjusting and adding color correction and stuff. So as I said, it's your choice. All right, so I think that you got it, man. You've compensated the shot and using the tune mapping. So remember that we're using just the camera roll. Go here and play with the highlights, the shadows, the whites, the blacks. Now clarity, be careful with that, because when you do this with the transparency, it's going to create some really weird stuff in the edges. So yeah, play with those, and the more time you spend on an image, the great. So you can also use the multipass compositing as well, and use, for example, here we worked on the whole image, but we can work only on the lighting pass, or we can use we can work on the reflection pass and turn the highlights a little bit down of that reflection pass, so we work with more advanced stuff. But anyways, I wanted to show you this technique because it's right away you can find yourself good results. So yeah, another thing I can do here is I can, for example, to make more reflection on the floor, I can use the reflection pass and copy it here and add a little bit of reflection. Just be creative, play with the passes, and yeah,